you know.
Sam is off and on.
They only eat
Sam and
peanuts
Suzanne are
granules.
excused.
So.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. It is Thursday, April 28th, 2022. This is a meeting of the Grand Island Conservation Advisory Board. We'll call it to order at 7:07 p.m. All right. And I was just discussing, we are behind on our approval of our minutes. There's minutes out there, the videos are out there, and we just need to send them out in an email to our board so we can take a look at them before meeting and then just approve any corrections. So if you have minutes from past meetings, please.
Well, we haven't received any from February or March. I haven't.
I haven't, I didn't take them in February or March, so I.
But somebody took, didn't somebody take them? I remember people volunteering.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Do you, I guess
Did
we
you
can check the
volunteer one of
video.
those months?
If it was last month, I think I took
Yeah.
them, but I didn't send them.
Didn't type them up and send
No,
them.
I did type them up. I didn't send them.
Oh,
There you
okay,
go.
all right.
There you go.
Because I did them like the day after.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I will send those out.
okay.
I thought I did.
So for what it's worth, we're behind. So
Yeah.
like, we have to do that and we'll talk a little bit later, but just, Tom was our secretary, so we need to make sure we fill that position.
Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
Up there, but I saw you reviewing maps. So
Yeah. Nice to see you in person.
So before we go on with our agenda, Nicole is here and she asked to just say a few things about some events. Okay, absolutely. Come on up.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to share that the nonprofit that my husband Dave and I started on Grand Island, Citizen Coalition for Wildlife Environment. We're having our second annual native plant sale for folks who maybe came last year. We're doing it again, same plants from the Plantsman Nursery on the historic Alt Farm. So that's on Saturday, June 11th. I can send it to you electronically as well if you want, but I just want to give you a heads up. But the more important and more fun heads up was our nonprofit received a grant from the Tonawanda Community Environmental Benefits Fund. Thank you. We're so excited. So our proposal, if you're familiar with that, that was the funding that came through after Tonawanda Coke was closed, and a lot of good things that hopefully will come out of that with the funding that came out of the lawsuit and stuff. So our Grand Island nonprofit received one of them, and it is actually a free native plant giveaway we're doing, along with an ecological gardening and environmental education event. So it's an event that's at the Western New York Welcome Center, Saturday, June 4th from 10 to 3. We have about 12 environmental organizations coming to table, from Western New York Land Conservancy to Greenway to Erie County SPCA Humane Habitat, Erie County Department of Environmental Planning. So we have a bunch of environmental organizations that will be presenting tables and information on ecological gardening, healthy ecosystems, native plants, their importance for biodiversity. We're also featuring a nationally renowned author, Nancy Lawson, the author of Humane Gardener, Nurturing a Backyard Habitat for Wildlife. We'll also have at our event the Black Rock Riverside Alliance. If you're familiar with them, they started a habitat program locally in Erie County, and they've actually worked with the National Wildlife Federation on the certification of the wildlife habitats. All the work they've done has made Erie County, I think, the 6th county in the country to be designated as a humane habitat National Wildlife certified community. So they've done a lot of great work. In fact, Grand Island was just recognized for the trail work. Congratulations to Grand Island on that, as well, from the Erie County
Management Council.
Yes, the Management Council, yes. So Grand Island was recognized for the trails, and also Black Rock Riverside Alliance was recognized for that work as well. So they'll be at our event. They had put in for a grant. Unfortunately, they didn't get one. But we'll be having that type of information presented, feature speaker, like I said, Nancy Lawson, Humane Gardener, So just want to give you guys a heads up. This is kind of the pre-announcement. We'll be putting out information. I'm not the social media person, but we have an new intern who's helping us, but we can get information.
Get it to Rhonda to me. I'll make sure it gets on the town's.
Oh,
Facebook
wonderful.
page.
Thank you. Yeah, because thank you, Tom. Because if you're familiar, the grant was meant to benefit communities like Grand Island. There were 7 specific zip codes that were, more so truly impacted by Tonawanda Coke's environmental disaster. So we'll be targeting those communities as well to let them know about the event. But I just want to give your great group, the organization,
Could we
big heads
have,
up on.
do you have an extra, like for our Arbor Day event this Saturday, we could announce this?
Oh, I can send it to you electronically. I
What?
just,
Okay, why don't you do that?
yeah, I just brought a couple copies here. But yeah, so I just want to, especially for the Tonawanda one, I think that's a wonderful thing that's happening in the community, and it's fun that it's happening here in Grand Island. So come on down for a free native plant to learn about some important gardening practices for biodiversity and all that good stuff.
We could put this on the bulletin board where we put the.
Yeah, we
You did
could.
that article about the coyotes, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that was really good.
Oh, thank
You
you.
know,
Thank
I
you very
passed it
much.
around my family.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
They
Thank you.
liked it.
Yeah,
Good.
it's you start thinking of what we have on our island, right? And all the things we could do to better understand the wildlife and, different animals that we have, the plants, oak trees, all different types of ecological communities, wetlands. If you're also probably heard the state has passed the wetlands protections that are forthcoming, what, 2025, 2028. So I think a lot of good things when you think of what Grand Island has and the work that you all are doing. Good things.
And you
for
too.
the
You
environment.
too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Well, is the, are both ospreys on the tower now or just one?
Both are up there.
Both.
Yeah, they're doing great. Very active on nest building.
Will you have to scope out again?
Yes. I actually,
Awesome.
Dave, because of the scope that that Tom had brought, Dave went and bought one too.
Okay, there you
So
go.
we'll have the scope out, absolutely.
That was very nice using that.
We actually we had purple martins coming for the past 3 years, but they'd come and then the sparrows or starlings would kind of compete. So they would end up kind of not staying. But we put up gourds this year. So we're hoping to get the purple martins back. The bluebirds are already back. Just saw a toady the other day, things like that. So yeah, in fact, probably by that point, we'll have hopefully been able to cut the trail. So you're welcome to walk on the trails. One of our goals too is, I think you might be familiar with, is the West New York Land Conservancy. We're doing a conservation easement with them, with our property. It's one of the 3 properties of Grand Island that they've focused on for the conservation. With our 33 acres, we want to keep that in perpetuity and open up community trails and things like that. So a lot more to come on the historic alt farm for the community that we're working on. So
Great.
also wonderful to
Great.
see you all at both
Yeah.
events, but I appreciate your time and help and thanks for all that you guys continue to do.
Well, thank you, Nicole. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah.
And we'll help a little bit with the advertisement for these. This is a
Yes.
fantastic opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you all. Take care.
Okay.
Enjoy the night.
Thank you.
Bye. Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, so these look,
They have a busy month, aren't they?
we have a busy spring just in general. here. This is fantastic. All right, so
Third, they just got.
okay, so the next thing on our agenda is the project update. So just looking through the mailbox, and like I said, South Point, the plat approval, that was a big document. Did everything go through with the planning board? Is there any?
Yeah, everything went through the planning board. There's a public hearing scheduled for, I believe, the 16th. I think they asked to kick it out, so that's gonna be coming up. And my understanding is they're ready to get running. There's been some emails going back and forth between their attorneys in the town about some issues with the trail and its walkability. It's not, there's portions of it at least that aren't flat, so we're gonna try and get them to look at that, and make sure that the trail is something that can and will be utilized. But as far as the rest of it, they're working their way towards trying to get shovels in the ground, so.
And now that the plats are there, I see they labeled their subdivisions like A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah,
Is that the order they're going to break on? Is it all going to be at once? Like, what's What's their?
That we don't know yet. I'm looking for approvals all at once. I had heard that what they were looking to do is basically each of these different sets of residential subdivisions, they were looking to shell out to different developers to build.
Mhm.
So, developer A might do one's part, developer B might do another.
Mm.
And as far as the apartments, that they really haven't shared that with us yet. But
As
get
far
the
as,
approvals and then,
as far as the number of stories,
well, as far as when they're gonna do it.
okay. Do you know where they are right now? Are they at 3 or 4 stories?
I think they're at 3.
They're at 3.
They get a variance for it, they go to 4, so.
Does the sanitary sewer improvements need to be completed before? the
Once they
construction?
pull their building permits and stuff, they'll have to do all that stuff before they connect anything in. So all those public improvement projects have to be completed before they can get certificates of occupancy or anything like that for anything they put in there, so.
So is it very common for a development like that to have different contractors for different parts of it? Or is that a concern at all?
Big
Not
development.
really, but
Okay.
I mean,
They all gotta be code.
it would be less of a concern if we had better design standards, but that's something we need to focus on.
So what's the next phase?
They're looking for approval for
Alright.
basically all of that. And once they do that,
Okay,
there's no saying when they go forward with
all right.
any
all right.
portion of it. It
Okay.
becomes up to them for when they want to pull permits.
Alright.
Okay.
And if you guys take a look at it, if you have any questions, like they stayed out of that wetlands delineation. As far as the state wetlands and, but that portion on Powell Road is like definitely cut off from the rest of it, and the rest kind of goes around the perimeter with a little space. And then, the 3-story, 168 units, assisted living facility with memory care.
Yep.
And then a lot of 4-unit townhomes, it looks like, and then single-family homes along the perimeter and road in the southwest corner that'll have single-family homes also. It's a lot of people.
Is there a lot more there than what was originally proposed, or am I just mistaken?
So
Seems like-
the area, I don't think so. I think like
Okay.
the
It's
original
gone. I
proposal.
think the numbers have gone down
Down.
Yeah.
since they started. I mean, when I say since they started, I mean since the rebirth of South Point.
Mhm.
The numbers of buildings or the capacity?
Both,
Okay, oh.
in
okay.
large part because I think when it started, they had to redelineate and ended up not being able to
Okay.
put buildings in some places that they had originally planned to put them, so.
I did notice a road crossing the pipeline. That was something I did not see. I thought they had to access those buildings from one side.
Goes inside. and over
Is that,
That was talked about in the planning board meeting.
Yeah, they must have had it,
It's a right of way, so they have the right to do that.
and they just need to get approval. It's
It's
one of
like
those
the
things
right of
where
way.
if they have to do work on the pipeline and tear the road up.
originally, the understanding was, I thought like they would make something for like fire trucks and emergency vehicles to get through to that area very quickly, and it wasn't going to be necessarily a road that was used all the time, and it looks like this is going to be a road.
It was
that's used all the
originally
time.
only a maintenance building on that side that road was gonna be. So I was actually more apartments.
Mhm.
That's right where we went hiking back
It's a little
and
different.
around. Alright. Any more questions on South Point?
Hmm.
So I left all the developments on here, and it's, if you can just say if there's been any advancements or not, if there's, we're just.
Rivertown, we just approved the PDD last meeting. So I don't know if anybody paid any attention to one thing that was built into that as far as a potential amenity for the town as part of the incentive zoning is they've offered the town an option to lease up to 15,000 square feet in one of their buildings that essentially the town would use as a Golden Age center. So to try and get that out of the Nike base and into something with less asbestos and more. So, so that's one thing that was built into that. We have to do a little work on it to make sure that exercising that option is something we can do. Because we'd have to essentially build out the space. They can build the building, but once it comes to finishing the space, that would be on the town to do. The lease would be a 30-year lease at, a discount from market rate during the first 30 years that the town could lease it from them. But that was one thing that they built in as an incentive to the town. So that got approved. We're hopeful to make that happen. When they'll break ground, but that one's moving along.
Didn't they just do a bunch of improvements at the Golden Age Center?
No, I mean, they did the community center.
Or community center?
Basically rehab that
Right,
in
okay.
its entirety. So that's usable space now. The community center, I mean, to the extent they've done anything, it's been basically slapping Band-Aids on whatever issues pop up as they come up. I mean, we just, most recently, there was a grant that we could have received as part of the community development block grant. That was up to like $80,000 to put air conditioning in. Except it would cost the town about $700,000 to do the asbestos abatement and the other work that would be required just to put the $80,000 worth of air conditioning in. So
Wow.
getting out of there as quickly as we can is definitely going to be in the town's best interest. It stinks because it's a cool building with some history, but
Mhm.
it's just not, for many, many reasons, it's not an ideal place to have people hanging out. So
Is the lease, potentially new lease property the same size as the current?
it would actually be substantially bigger.
Oh,
So even basically the 10,000 is the starting point and then would go up to 15.
mhm.
And right now, it's about 7,500 square feet of total space,
Okay.
but that includes a lot of wasted space. I don't know if you've been in there, but there's hallways, there's
Mhm.
the way that it's all broken
Yeah.
up, there's a lot of wasted space there. So it would be more square footage and we would have control over how we divvy up that square footage so that it better meets the needs of the seniors. So
Would you demo the existing facility?
not likely because it's a touchy subject because it's historical and we can't really use any federal money to do it. And with the even just to go knock it down with
Oh,
asbestos
yeah,
and
it
stuff
costs a
like
lot of
that,
money, but
it costs a lot of money. So, I mean, ideally, temporarily, maybe we could get the recreation department out of their portion of the Nike base and in there, but that's not really a long-term solution either. So we're hoping to kind of push to get the recreation center somewhere else and then we can figure out what in the world we're gonna do with the Nike base, but baby steps at this point.
Sounds like a great opportunity though.
I think, and they're gonna have senior housing there. They have the walking paths, they have the pond, they have dog parks, they have all sorts of stuff. So, I think it's something that could work very well for the town and
Mhm.
fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, it could probably work pretty well for the developer too. It's the type of, that's the type of development we want in the center of town. So.
Let's make sure we name it the Villages North.
There you go. I don't think there's been much development since our last meeting with respect to any of the other projects. We just referred with respect to the White House Point or whatever you want to call it now. I don't know where you guys, so they had originally requested to rezone the entirety of that B1 parcel to R2. The town board didn't like that, the planning board didn't like that, so they've come back with an alternative plan, which is to rezone a smaller portion of that B1 parcel to R2, I think leaving about 13 acres that would be B1. We've referred that to the long-range planning committee to get their thoughts on it, because they were against the original rezoning because of the hamlet designation there. So before we do anything with it, we wanted to get their thoughts and see if that was something to kind of meet in the middle. But that's all that's really happened on that one. Long Road, still hasn't been a whole lot going on there. The solar project on Whitehaven, they came back. The planning board has now approved it, but it's a chicken or the egg argument with them with respect to that development, that solar development, and a subdivision that the owner of David Holmes had received approval for many, many years ago and has done nothing with. So the new solar law requires setbacks of 500 feet from a residence. And there isn't a residence there, but there is an approved subdivision. So now it's okay, well, what are we gonna do with this?
Is this the south side of Whitehaven or the north?
It would be the north side of Whitehaven by the golf course. So where it's where the tower is, it's way down like southeast by
Oh,
River
okay.
Oaks where the towers are. So they have that solar development going in there when they want to. And then David Holmes has another, like by golf course villas and stuff, they have a small subdivision that they received approval for a long time ago. But they haven't done anything with. So they went to the planning board and basically said, you can't put that subdivision, you can't put that solar system where you want it, because when we build our houses, your solar panels aren't going to be 500 feet from that house. And not surprisingly, they said, well, it says 500 feet from a structure, and there's no structure. So the planning board acknowledged that there was an issue and basically punted, and the town board is going to be discussing that on Monday as far as what we want to do, because it's been there for, that the approval for that subdivision has been there, I think, for going on 2 decades, and they haven't done anything.
Isn't there an expiration on the,
Not really. I mean, they just
they have to
frankly,
do all of their assessments all over again, don't they, for,
no, once,
there's some sort
well,
of a-
yeah, it depends on how they got the approval.
okay,
Like with South Point, for example, once they pulled that building permit for phase 1, they won't have to redelineate. They pull the permit, they're good to go. Assuming that was the one that was approved was a phase of like the Fairway Greens or whatever those other subdivisions are over there, they may not have to redelineate. But I mean, from a legal standpoint, it's probably just a race to who pulls a building permit first, if we want it to be that way. But obviously, we as the town board we have a bit more control over things like solar projects where they have to get a special use permit than we would just, if he wanted to build his home. So that's one that's kind of that we're gonna have to tackle. I think potentially we'd end up with a similar issue where Tom Thompson wants to put his solar facility because he wants to put something out in the back of his property. There's a previously approved subdivision off a long road. If you've been down there, there's a Howard Hanna has a sign there and it says sold. You'd almost never know it. It's just past the like assisted living place. And I mean, it's not even as narrow. It's not even as wide as most lots, but that goes out in the back and there's like a 30 or 33 unit subdivision back there that I suspect we're going to be in the same position where they're going to be trying to put in the solar system, and the guys who just bought that property are going to be saying, no, we're going to build houses there. So fun stuff.
What happened to the 2 that were proposed on Whitehaven near, like near the Welcome Center?
So they're
What's that?
moving forward.
They are, both of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
so what we ended up doing, we had a standstill with them. They were arguing that because before we instituted the moratorium, they had done everything but pull a building permit. They
Mhm.
received their approvals, they received the special use permit. So once we pulled the moratorium, they couldn't get the building permit. And when it expired, their position was, look, you approved everything before, all we need to do was pull a building permit. And we said, yeah, but you didn't. So what they ended up doing was they were nice enough to work with us to move a section of the panels that would have been essentially closest to Alvin and like the pet lodge. There was a section of panels there that would have been within, 250, 300 feet of the buildings. They took those out, they put them out in the back so that basically now they're in compliance with our law for the most part. So that
There
will
are
be,
some for sale signs on there.
so they still have, basically right at the corner of Alvin and Baseline, like right by the pet lodge, they do have a portion of that is B2, I think, that they're gonna try and put in like a small plaza, but
Oh,
nothing. It could be like a 10,000 square foot like strip plaza thing, kind of like where Wavelengths is on the boulevard, something of that size.
Hmm.
But that's probably what they're looking to do, is to try and get somebody to do that. But the solar project, that one should be moving forward, I think, 2 meetings ago.
what's the name of it? Is there a name?
It was Baywa. was the
Oh,
name of the
that's
company
right.
that was
That's right.
working
I remember. Yeah. What about the Emery one? Is it
I haven't, that one I have not heard.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's the one that was on Whitehaven,
on the other side
not
of it?
going further west, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay.
I haven't heard anything of that in a long time, surprisingly. They
Just
haven't-
wondered.
Basically, since the,
Moratorium.
because they were around before the moratorium, and
Right.
we have not heard a thing from them since the
Oh, okay.
moratorium expired. And the new law was approved, so.
Right, okay. Just curious. So this one on over near River Oaks is a private one? They're all private. How big is it? Do you know?
Oh, I can't remember. It's bigger
Pretty
than
big.
some of those.
It was
Okay.
the L-shaped one that they were thinking, remember we said if we could get a trail to go back there, it could connect to scenic woods. I remember.
Oh,
Well, we're
right.
in that, I
Yeah.
think they're agreeable to doing that. The trail, we had talked in our last meeting about a path like through the middle of it. That they seem a little more hesitant to, but the way, like where the road goes back, all of the panels would basically be on the southeast of the road. And I think they're agreeable to putting a parking lot in the back part of the road. And then putting a trail in that would connect through to scenic woods, and then we have some property. Town has like a 60-foot piece of property on Ransom that could get scenic, basically from scenic woods out to Ransom proper, where we were talking about potentially trying to put, another like small parking lot and access, so you could go right from Ransom to scenic woods all the way to Whitehaven, so.
Hmm.
This board been asked to look at the Baywa site as far for any issues, or?
That would, I think so, but that would
That
have
was-
been well
That would have been a
before.
long time ago.
That was a
Yeah.
while back.
I
I mean, that would have been.
I don't remember.
That would have
Yeah.
been early 20, like during like peak COVID, because it was.
Right.
We
Right
instituted the
before
moratorium,
COVID.
right, we instituted the moratorium pretty quickly after I got on the board, which was January of 2020. And like I said, so they'd already, by that point, I mean, I may have.
Oh, this would have been 2019.
I may have approved Baywa, but any of that type of work would have been in 2019.
Mhm.
So before my time.
Alright. Okay, so any other questions? I mean, nothing's happening there with Long Road right now. We have the solar developments. I did see
Oh,
few, like, I don't know, we get the planning board packets and I just looked through for EEDs and wetlands and stuff like that. There's a few things going, there's a storage facility going on the boulevard. There is one on Whitehaven going out towards West River. And then Island Pet Lodge is expanding. I think we talked about that.
and then there's an extension. There's another small 27 unit subdivision at the end of Sawmill Run, which is off of Bedell by like Amy.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, so that's off like basically where you go in off Amy. If you were to turn onto Amy from Bedell, and then take a right. You could take a left to go on to Independence, and there's like 2 houses and a dead end. So basically they're gonna continue that road.
So that's gonna back up against the solar farm that's. Am I right? No.
I don't think it's going that far back. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it would be essentially behind the Whitehaven one, but it's not gonna go back. It's gonna be really close to the, like, right along the back of the house on the
It's gonna
hill.
be north of the solar, north
Yeah,
or
yep.
north. Northeast a little bit. maybe.
Yeah. And then, yeah, the storage facility on Whitehaven is where JV Landscaping is. So they've got some buildings in the back. They want to add a couple small buildings of store, typical resident like storage units where you get like a 10 by 10 storage unit. There's the application for the 2. I don't even know if he submitted an application. He might have just submitted like a concept plan to the planning board to put 2 additional buildings like the new blue buildings on the boulevard by Brick Oven at the core, at the intersection of Long and Grand Island Boulevard. So that's potentially out there. But like I said, I don't think he's actually submitted an application. I think he went to the planning board just to get their thoughts on that for now. Pet Lodge is doing a small expansion.
Oh, there was more talk about the Thermo Fisher. I think we saw an expansion. I don't know if this is an additional one from the one we saw before. I think Thermo Fisher.
How long ago was I on? There is another one. Where they have like a
They're
gravel
expanding
parking
that
lot.
same direction. It's going that same direction. It's going out towards the west of the building. I think it's like the northwest of the building. There's another expansion going out there.
Is it just a warehouse? 'Cause they wanted to put like where they have a parking, like a gravel parking area. They wanted to do like a big warehouse.
Oh, the last one we looked at, there were some truck bays and stuff like that. I remember.
That might be something different than
Oh,
what's in
yeah,
front
then
now.
what's in, yeah, so it was a while ago. I think that's about it. Oh, and if you remember back in 2018, we went hiking Island Meadows, which is an extension off of Old Carriage House Road. They're adding 2 more plats to that subdivision. That was the only change that I saw. But if you remember, we hiked back, we found the EED. There's an EED on their property, and they said that they would mark it with those anchors, no mow zones. This is there were some berms there towards the creek. So I mean, I don't think they're infringing upon that or anything like that. So I don't know if we need to comment on that one again. I think they just decrease some of the lot sizes to make.
They just adjusted a couple of bigger lots. And chopped them up into smaller ones.
Is that still, I mean, I didn't recognize any of the name, but I thought that was that Bob Weaver's land?
It may have been when he did it, but it's not
Not
in now.
not anymore.
I don't think
Because
so.
I didn't recognize any of the names that were on there. I did see
It was
Palumbo, Jeff Palumbo.
Colombo, or was it, was the architect, the island guys?
Shive.
No, no. My brother. Zarvos.
Okay. This definitely is not it. Okay. Well, I think that's it for the development. You guys have any other questions? All right, so moving down to the interview schedule. I have been so meaning to set this up, and time is getting away, and my weekend time is occupied, and we got a lot going on, but we have vacancies for 2 alternate members, and I do believe that when you advertised, it said for full members, which is not the case.
Yeah,
And so,
that's all right.
but we have Alice and Tom left vacancies. We still have our full 9-member board. We just don't have those two alternate positions. I have a very short amount of time that I'm available, like, it could be after school or something like that. If not later in the evenings, I could probably pull some off, but if I can
How
get you
many
guys to
people, how many
help
people
out.
are
I
there?
think we had 3 applicants.
I had somebody else express some interest to me the other day. I told her
Okay.
to send me, that we hadn't interviewed yet, to send me, just something saying she was interested, we could get her into. So,
Okay.
4 in total, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, we should get that taken care of before the summer. I feel like it's,
Would they still be interested if it's only for alternate?
I do not know.
Actually,
We can
when
check
Liz
with
and
them.
I interviewed, it was stated, we didn't know, I didn't know I was signing up for an alternate, did you?
I don't.
I thought it was a position,
I
and I was
don't
okay with the
remember.
alternate, it's
I mean,
kind of a
It
learning.
didn't
curve
matter
thing.
to me. I remember though.
So it's very much,
It's kind of
You're right.
higher. I mean,
so
That's it,
just so
kinda
you know,
learn
if,
as you go
if,
through.
if,
well, I mean, for the most part,
You're almost a member
When
anyways, when you're. an
there's never
alternate,
really openings for,
You know,
we don't really interview for regular members because for the most part,
Yeah, the
when a
other-
member leaves, it's the alternate that slides in because they've been
Right,
there. And,
right.
the other thing is for most of these, especially with things that really aren't the planning board or the ZBA, it doesn't matter much. I mean, you're
Right.
always gonna be part of the discussion. You might not have a formal vote, but your voice is heard. So
and,
I
and,
think if we couch that to any potential candidate, say, look, it's an alternate position, but if you're interested, you're still part of all the dialogue, and frankly, it's probably just a matter of time before you get your spot at the table, because
and truthfully, as of late, if there's 2 alternates that were here tonight, they would be
They
voting
would be in.
members. They would be full voting members. And so we have a 9-member board. The chances of all 9 members being present is slim. Everybody's got stuff going on. So, basically it comes with all the privileges thereof. And
we can do these via Zoom too.
okay,
We can get them a hybrid, if it's easier. I want to set them up. I can make sure that we have Zoom access for people who want to have Zoom access, and we can do them here pretty much anytime. So
okay. If you were around to have, like, I know they said us usually submit a letter of interest. Sometimes they even submit a resume and stuff like that. If we could have that
I'll give-
before
yep,
we conduct the interviews, that
absolutely.
helps a little bit and helps us,
Is
formulate
there a
questions.
particular day of the week that you could do it after school?
So,
Not so much.
so.
Or
I'm
dinner time
thinking,
or
If
6 or something? I don't-
it does depend on the night, and so I would be, if we can get a small group of us together, if you guys, if more of you can make it than I can, I'm okay with maybe zooming in and just kind of watching. I would be okay with that because I'm usually with my phone wherever I am, so we can set something up like that. And, it's nice to meet the candidates.
I will,
So it's
I'll
something we
send-
should do soon, it sounds like.
Yes.
yeah, I'll send the resumes around or whatever we got from
Yeah.
the applicants, and then why don't you maybe can you send a handful of dates over the next month that you might be able to free yourself up for a couple of hours?
So I can do that. I just want to make sure that you or somebody is available to.
Yeah, I'll make sure either me or Mike or
So just
somebody,
send-
preferably me, but
Yeah, send me your availability and then I will call
Okay.
them and see about scheduling them in.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my best days. Mondays, I guess the second Monday of the month is first and third. I have this, and then the fourth Monday is Parks and Rec Advisory Board. There's a fifth now. We're doing our
I can do
joint town
Wednesday.
school board meetings.
Wednesdays after 7. That works.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
would
know.
interview all at one time, like?
It would be nice to have them all come in and,
Just
that way,
sequentially, yeah.
that way they get the same sequence of questions and you could kind of get to, know them all at the same time to just.
Well, maybe we should pick a couple possible Wednesdays that we could do it then right now, so I don't have to go around with emails. I don't have a calendar with me. but-
What are the next, the 4th, the 11th,
got
the
your phone?
18th,
Do
the 26th,
Fourth, 11th, 18th, 25th.
you?
If
Wow,
we could make them happen on the 4th.
4th or the 11th, sound good. They're pretty,
The 11th, I actually have something.
oh,
The
okay.
4th would be great.
Mhm.
And then after that, I'm coaching my son's baseball team. So I just have to make sure that one of the other coaches is available to cover practice. I could duck out. I mean, after 7, we start at 6:30. So
So the 4th is next week. Do you think that's giving them enough time?
We could call and see.
We'll just talk to call them and ask them, right?
Yeah, and if they're unable to, we can ask if they would be able to zoom in. And if not, we push a couple till later. I'll be in Switzerland maybe till 6:30, so I'll have to drive here. I can make 7.
7 on the, well, yeah. So how do you let them know?
I can give them.
You can do that? Okay, all right.
So we're talking about 4 applicants?
Yeah.
For 2 positions.
Plan for like 20 minutes apiece. We could go from 7 to 8:30ish.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm. So when you call them, you could ask.
Yep.
Give them a time. So
Yeah,
that's all
absolutely.
taken
We
care
gotta
of.
make sure that on that Wednesday, we have a place
Well, that's a good.
in town hall.
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably be the conference room. We don't really have much going on in town hall on Wednesdays because on Wednesdays there's court
Oh,
up here.
this court, right.
But we should be able to use the conference room downstairs, which would be fine for us.
Okay, good.
All right.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. And then, okay,
So who
so
else thinks they could come? I mean, I think
I'm
I'd be
available.
able to.
Okay.
Okay,
And I'll see if Mike can join too, since he's my basically co-liaison.
Mhm.
So is that John?
No, I mean, we were kind of doing it that way, but now that we have this year, we kind of implemented co-liaisons.
Yeah.
So I think it would probably make the most sense to have Mike there, and then, he and I could report back to.
yes, that's what I've been told.
more than 7.
I mean, I could go, but I'm an
It's just-
alternate, so it doesn't matter.
What?
I could,
No,
I
no.
could join you guys, but right now I'm an alternate, so.
We need to,
But
we
you
need
know
to
how it all
officially
works.
move.
That might, you know what, that
That's
might
true.
be why Rhonda posted for an open position, because the open position she saw would have been Alice's, who was a full member. We
And
haven't yet slid you into that.
Liz was
would
the
go
first
first.
alternate, so she would go into Alice's
Okay.
position, and Jerry was the second alternate, so he would go into Tom's
Okay, so we'll
position.
get that.
On the next town board meeting, just a little.
Yeah, that'll be, well, we're too late for the next one,
Okay.
but if we do the interviews on the 4th,
Okay.
we can do all of that at the second one in May.
Okay.
We need you at the interview to be able to relate to the alternate
Yeah.
experience.
There you go.
All right. And this weekend, Arbor Day hikes, right?
Yep.
10 a.m., 1 p.m. and
Right.
then
We're
12,
ready.
We're just having a little report on our tree survey. Right? So
Correct.
how's all that gonna shake up?
It's all coming together. We've been walking the trails. We're hoping they'll be a little drier. And we've got signs ready. We've got all the equipment Lori needs in the Parks Department or Rec Department is going to open up for us, and we have a projector there. And, we're going to have handouts. And Nate Morey sent in a few beautiful Arbor Day posters. DEC produces Arbor Day posters and bookmarks every year. And a couple calendars, and Lori's gonna bring a few. I kind of want to steal one of the posters and frame it. It's so beautiful. What else? I don't know, we're ready.
You have
We
a
have
sign
no
for out
idea.
front.
Yeah, I have a sign for out front.
Yeah.
Sue, Paul and I have been putting it
Walked
all
them a
together,
couple
and
times.
we've had a lot of cooperation.
I took the flyers you sent, I gave it to the superintendent, and he sent that out on the family
E-blast
blast.
thing.
So it goes out to the 3,000 plus
Um,
families, and so I hope some people are interested. If they are, just say,
We have several people who can lead, are willing to lead, and if we have to, we'll break into smaller groups. Just depends on how many people show up.
Looks like we have decent weather.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
really
I
nice
know.
weather.
Our goal is to like get every group over to the bridge and see what's on the other side, but we won't have time to really, but the contrast between what's on the one side and what's on the other side
the other
is
side
such
is an open
big-
canopy.
yeah, and big
Yeah.
old mature trees, so. Yeah.
They screened the one with the bees in it, I guess.
Yeah,
Trying to get a
Yes,
trail camp. where
it's not even a
see-
screen. Oh, is that,
They
did
were
you put
try-
that up? Because we
they-
we
it was
were waiting.
broken. It was broken, and I think they were gonna try and get another one to see
oh, okay,
what the deal was, but they're working on it.
yeah, we
Ah,
saw, we
okay.
saw it there,
Yeah, they put up a big board or something across the whole.
yeah. They are creating another loop, but it's not ready yet.
Yep.
But, which is great.
And Joe's gonna bring maps with the new trail on it. And somehow we have to. Whoever does these trails needs to get them onto the website.
We're working on it. We can't put anything on the website right now. We're on the verge of launching our own one, so we're not supposed to
Well,
be.
I know, but I mean, I went out there the other day and the links were broken, and stuff was old, and so I tried to give Alice maps for her article, and I go out there and nothing's right. The link to the Nike base that we're hiking got a 404 error. And
You have Judy Schmitz now?
I sent it out to everybody, they fixed it right away, which was really good. Judy came back today and said the map isn't an old map, that was the current map, but I don't know, it was missing all the trails on the other side of the bridge, which was done because we had the photo op.
Oh, no, that was, yeah, but that was intentionally not published yet because they were waiting to verify a couple of issues where they potentially went towards private property. I think.
Yeah, that was stuff a long time ago, I think. This the town map, they cut them and they.
No, right, we mapped it, but somebody right when we were gonna publish it, there was a tree stand that was right by there, and it was hunting season. So we ended up not publishing that one trail just because we didn't want somebody wandering around the trail and somebody sitting in a hunting stand. So, but so that may have been intentional.
Yeah, I don't know,
Pretty sure
I don't know
that
what
one-
happened, but
It's the one that goes up along.
it's long past hunting season. So.
Or it's
anyhow.
always hunting season.
And anyhow, we just gotta, because they're putting the new trail in. And Joe said he's gonna bring a map for the leaders with the new trail, so we can talk to the new trail. We just need to make sure that when it's done, we update the two maps of the Grand Island, the full Grand Island map and the Nike base. Because we need to publicize our trails for the good of everybody using them. If we have them and no map to them, they potentially wasted a lot of time building trails.
By the way, we're not doing the trail dedications on Arbor Day. We're gonna do that sometime in the future because the signs aren't ready. They're actually, Pete called me last night and said, they're not gonna do the plaques that we originally talked about to put on a stone. It turns out the one that has Joanne Carr's name on it, her family paid for that, and they are super expensive, those kinds of things. So the town is trying to figure out another sign design that would be less expensive. So eventually those two trails will be named in honor of Ron Resbeck and Dorothy Westhufer, but it's not at this event.
I think you talked to him last night.
Yeah. Why,
I talked to him earlier today. And I thought he said he already had a solution for it.
he said
It
he
was gonna be way
does.
cheaper and
Yeah,
so
okay.
I don't know. I forgot what it was, but he definitely figured it out.
It's some
So,
sort of simpler sign that won't cost.
well, I
us
thought he said something about they bought the rock too. and if you
Oh.
put Black on the rock.
much. Okay, he didn't tell me all that.
So
Anyway,
Because we talked about the last time using the rock by the bridge, that using the stepping stones that are
oh,
already there.
right.
Right.
so anyway, he's working on it.
He is.
He apologizes, he probably can't be there either, so. But that's okay. That's one reason I wanted to try to record it. Especially for employees or town council if they can't be there, so. We'll see if that works out.
We'll make that. And actually, we did get several extra people who said they're now gonna come and help, so
Yeah,
I think it's volunteers is up.
yeah,
So,
good.
Yay. All right, exciting. So I did not talk to Sam about
Oh,
the
yeah.
award.
Yeah, the town's been notified though, probably, right, about the award? Oh, okay, I may not know.
Not every,
I have nothing to say. I'm not sure. I haven't heard it through official means.
okay, well.
Well, Sam said
Alice
some,
called Tom, who told her to call me, and I said, this is what we applied for, and so I assume it might be in Friday's paper. I have no idea. And I called Sam, he didn't return my phone call till today, and he was gonna call Alice. I don't know.
I need better connections.
I sent something out once with his phone number on it, not his regular email. And it said the Environmental Council Awards, but
Yep.
then there was no explanation or who got them or anything.
Right, but then there was a separate email sent out, but I don't think to everybody that mentioned that we got the award. So you had to kind of connect the two.
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't think he's sending it to me.
I haven't
I
seen
got a
anything.
little like screenshot of the award, the Erie County announcement.
So,
Yeah, no,
so we do have it for sure.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it was just, you know what, we. Yeah,
It was good because I hated to have Alice interviewing if we didn't really get it.
It was just out on the 22nd. They announced it on,
Oh, on Earth Day.
Earth
that's
Day.
right,
Ah,
that's
okay.
right.
I can,
Okay.
I'll forward this.
Here, okay, so here it is, April 20, says Supervisor Whitney. You just a Google search for it.
Yeah, it was.
The
yeah.
Erie County Environmental Management Council is pleased to inform you that the town of Grand Island has been selected to receive a 2022 Environmental Excellence Awards for Nature Trails of Grand Island. This project helped develop a system of on-street bicycling routes, multi-use pedestrian bicycle trails, hiking trails, and river paddle courses to provide low-impact access to key natural places within the town and to interconnect with regional trail systems. The trail system now includes about 30 miles of trails on land and water and provides access to sites that include Beaver Island State Park, Gallagly Nature Sanctuary, Scenic Woods, Nike Base Park, and Buckhorn State Park. This EMC award program is designed to showcase and promote projects like yours that improve access to our environment and expand multimodal transportation systems and can inspire others across Erie County and beyond. Unfortunately, there will not be hosting a public award ceremony. Okay, though we are not able to recognize you in this way, your project is very important to the community and EMC will promote your excellent work through social media and various events through the community.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks to
and they need
Sam
that, we need to arrange the
Paul, you-
receipt of the award.
And we need to
Arrangement.
make sure that that's posted on the website and on the CAB website too. And Parks and Rec and whoever else was responsible for,
That is awesome.
yeah.
Great job, everyone. Thank you, Sam, so much. He's watching,
He's
for
watching.
filling out that application.
Not only that, he found it. Not even filling it out. I mean, he's the guy who found the application. Drove
Right.
it. So that was awesome.
Well, he has been, used to go to these meetings of that group. I don't know if he still does, so he's
Yeah.
aware of that they do this. And one year when we got it, I went, Mary Cook, who was supervisor then, and I and somebody else went to an auditorium where they presented these awards. So it was nice. And they also had like a rain barrel painting contest with schools and they were awarded stuff too. So it was a neat ceremony, but obviously they're not gonna do that.
I mean, we could think of, perhaps we could ask the town to commemorate this in some public display, so that way, you know, it can be on the record.
We can do it at a town board, at a town board meeting, once we get
That's a good
we
idea.
can get the award from Erie County, and then I think the town
Yes.
board can certainly
Bonnie
do a
wants.
presentation to you guys and the other, you know, Joe Mentor and Tom Cicero, the folks that were involved in making this stuff happen.
Everybody was integral in this.
Yeah.
It's making us a destination for hiking trails. I can't tell you how many times on these online groups I get sent pictures of, you know, sunrises and sunsets all on Grand Island trails. And so that's really nice to see. So
Right. How do you happen to get those?
So I'm not the social media guy, but my friends are. And so what they'll do is they'll see it and they'll take a screenshot and text it to me.
Send it to you, yeah.
And so it's nice to see. I think a lot of trail groups recognize Grand Island now. And so, you know, they like the West River, very popular, especially in the evening with the sunset.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, you know, you see
Nice.
a lot of those pictures, a lot of birders too. You know,
Mhm.
a lot of birders are putting up pictures from Grand Island, so.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. That brings us to anything else from the town? Town board report, anything we need to be aware of what's going on?
That I'm aware of that we didn't cover in the earlier portions.
Then we get to the projects, that's the big one. All right, any additional news announcements?
Yeah, I was just trying to find a picture of it. If you go along West River, where the bike trail ends, where the old parkway ends, right at that corner, they're doing a lot of construction. They're putting up more rock walls, like they did at Buckhorn on the other side by Burnt Chip Creek. And they're putting giant planter boxes in. I stopped and talked to the guys to put in a bunch of vegetation. Then also, and I talked to them Monday when I was riding my bike, Tuesday when I was riding my bike up through there. I believe it was the DEC was at Buckhorn on the street with their lights flashing. There was a bunch of people and they were out planting trees.
Yay.
So they had a whole bunch of bare root trees. And I talked to, I don't know, it was 4 or 5 of them, and they all had boots on and they were gonna walk in 30 yards and they were planting trees. I don't know how many trees, but I probably saw 50.
Do you know what kind?
A whole mix. I know they had sycamore. I know they had some kind of pine. I asked them if they had basswood. But they had a couple, you know, they had a mix of trees. I thought I took a picture of that.
I did like driving by
Certified auto.
Motors.
Oh, yeah. Big
Whole
trees. out
pile of trees out front waiting to be
Oh, I
planted, which is
saw
nice to
that,
see.
yeah.
Yeah, this is actually the rock wall and some of the stuff before they put it in, it's gonna be the boxes. And they're different rock walls than the other ones. The other ones run parallel. This one, they sort of go out in arc.
I was wondering what that was. I saw it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
What
There's
they're doing.
two types there, I think. One that they anchor right into the bottom of the river,
Yes.
and the other one is more inward. I thought there was an article in
This-
the.
There was.
I think there was.
Yeah,
I think
Is this
I'm
off of
gonna
Buckhorn?
offer to the
No.
person.
no, it's at the end of the
West
trail.
River. Right when we turn.
It's- I don't know.
Whitehaven and West River and Long. basically.
I don't actually know where Buckhorn ends there. Does it actually go up that corner?
It's near the
I
Eagle.
don't think it does.
Eagle.
Yeah,
Eye.
Eagle Overlook.
Okay.
It's
Near that.
It's
Just
it's south. It's
Is
south
that-
of there.
I saw ducks in there already.
Oh, with-
And then
I got a duck
Yeah, yeah.
on
On
the
the inside.
Laid it, laid eggs.
Oh, no.
Right underneath
Like
the.
buffalo heads or
Yeah.
is there
You got the water back there?
buffalo head or something like that?
The
I live on Havel, like I'm right, so across the street, I'm on
I thought
Havel.
you were saying Buffalo.
The people
No, no,
across
no.
the street, we have
And they
buffalo.
have like
back
a-
there. It's right where the park is.
Fuzzy
It's like,
top.
alright, but the duck, she was here
Right.
last year, in
Yeah.
the
I
summer
swear I
she
saw
came back.
her.
She's
Oh,
right
she's
on the
right.
border.
She's
She's
right.
smarter
I'm
this
like,
time with the weather.
I
She's
just-
right
I don't know
underneath
ducks
the
well
vet
enough.
from the dryer,
Oh.
so she stays nice and warm there.
You got that Merlin there?
But they're also doing
Merlin, yeah.
the rock
Yeah,
wall,
yeah.
it's the
It might
same
have it
rock
in
wall
there.
they did
Oh, I'm sure it
before.
does.
It's going to be
I saw
underwater
volleyball that night
sometimes.
too. I mean, it's
But
not unusual. anymore to see
I
that.
told
Oh
the
my
guy,
God, just
You know, I
something
says,
that was
it's
closer.
a hazard for us kayakers,
just
because
like
you
a
can't
fundraiser.
see them.
Yeah, my daughter lives on West River. and
The ones
they come
down
all
in
the time.
Buckhorn are poorly managed. Because sometimes you can see them very well and sometimes you can't see them at all, and they put random blocks in that you just have no idea until you hit it. This one here, I'm hoping is gonna be marked a little bit better, but I
I was
don't
able to get a picture.
know.
of
He
it.
said he did hear a bunch of people complain, but they built them the same
I
way.
didn't have my nice
But
camera.
I don't think it really bothers the
What is it,
voters,
Russ?
because I don't think it
Oh,
gets that close.
Oh.
The latest, I know it's not really a thing anymore to spot a volleyball on the shore, which is awesome.
They put that stuff
Let's go
in
that again.
Minneapolis. I mean, boaters probably aren't as much of an issue there, but like Grass Island, they were complaining. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. They put them in, there were times where it was underwater, and they were afraid somebody. was-
Yep. Yeah. But I mean, the good news is they're doing the work, right? So I think that, you know, sometimes I always pick at the stuff, it's awesome work they're doing. It's just, you know, just.
Yes,
You gotta be
I thought
careful.
there would be filled with conservation.
Any other news announcements? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Motion.
No, second.
Second, okay, so Paul and Jim, and the meeting is adjourned at 8:10 PM.